This week on the Crypto Nightly News, we look at Three Arrows and Voyager, who took a leap of faith and proved what goes up must come down. The EU's stab at taming the wild, wild west, and we sit down with Lumiwealth CEO Grzesik to talk about a way that you can learn to trade with the whales of big-time investors. All that and a look at NFTs and how they might be your key to financial independence. On this week's 4th of July episode, Happy Independence Day, it's time for the Crypto Nightly News.
We all know that crypto is the term future of the digital asset compared to last year's survey.
Welcome to the Crypto Nightly News with Chris Jerman. Welcome to the Crypto Nightly News and happy Independence Day. I'm your host, Christopher Jerman. Each week, we run down a few of the major headlines from the cryptoverse in a broadcast that goes out to the world from my tiny little trailer studio located somewhere in an undisclosed location in the Utah desert. I'm very pleased to announce that this week's episode is brought to you by the great people at Luma Wealth, who generously signed on as sponsor for the next few episodes. If you would like to sponsor this broadcast, drop me an email at info@thechartedlife.net or call 252-617-3792. Now, this is the best half-hour crypto news you're going to find on the web, but this is not in any way financial advice. If you want financial advice, I would recommend you contact a financial advisor. But if you want to learn a few things about crypto and have a damn good time doing it, then this is the newscast for you. I'm even speaking a bit slower for those of you who find it hard to understand some of the more complex stories from the crypto world we discuss. But if you move at 1,000,000 miles a minute along with the pace of crypto, you can always speed up the playback on your player if you want to. Okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way, we are ready to delve headlong into this blood sport that was the week's meteoric adventure in finance. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can be reminded each time the SS Crypto Cruiser sets sail. So grab your favorite adult beverage and settle in for another edition of the Crypto Nightly News for July 4th, 2022 with me, your host, Christopher Jerman. And for our top story, Three Arrows Capital, popularly known as 3AC, a Singapore-based crypto hedge fund, filed for Chapter 15 bankruptcy on Friday. The news prompted Voyager Digital, a brokerage tied to the failing hedge fund through a number of bad debts, to suspend trading, deposits, and withdrawals. Meanwhile, reps for the firm put out an APB for 3AC founders Kyle Davis and Zhu Su, who seem to have gone AWOL since June 15th. Chapter 15 bankruptcy is a move that protects the firm's U.S. assets, while liquidation is being carried out in the British Virgin Islands. Liquidation of 3AC was ordered by a British Virgin Islands court on June 29th, after arguments were made that liquidation would be a significant moment in the current unraveling of the cryptocurrency sector. And at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, in response to the bankruptcy filing, Voyager halted all trading after it announced earlier in the month that it had around $500 million in exposure with Three Arrows, and that it was defaulting on payments on a $200 million loan that it took out the previous month to cover the losses it was suffering from 3AC. The bad news sent crypto markets tumbling, with only 4 of the top 30 coins seeing pluses on the week, with nearly $23 billion exiting the cryptoverse. The market cap, or total market value of all crypto assets, fell below $900 billion, with Bitcoin teetering below 19,000 for a large chunk of the week. while Ethereum fell down a flight of stairs, flirting with the 1,000 mark and threatening deeper losses into three figures territory. Binance, Dogecoin, and Tron saw modest gains of anywhere from a quarter to just below 1%, while the US dollar coin finished flat at $1 for the week. If you would like to track the price of coins that we are following for this podcast, there are lots and lots of websites that provide numbers. But my favorite is cryptomarketcap.com. They break out all the coins into hourly, daily, 7-day, and monthly rates and have this great charting feature that you can look at to see the trends on the various time frames.
I'm a single mom of 3. I've been working in healthcare settings, specifically in clinical laboratory medicine, for about 25 years. I was actually inspired, I should say, by the NFTs and cryptocurrency. So I was actually surfing the net and I saw the advertisement for Lumiwealth. And I said, yeah, this is the perfect time for me, if I'm going to do this, to jump on board now, because we're at the verge of, this whole digital era that's taking place right before us. Right. I want to do something that will allow me to have more time to be with my children as well, and allow myself to basically contract work. So it didn't take a big chunk out of my schedule. The classes were perfect. They were 2 hours long. The instructor was awesome. It opened my eyes to a world that is very new to me.
And lastly, would you recommend Lumiwealth's classes to someone else?
I definitely would. I actually have.
And for our next story, the European Union and its member states agreed upon a landmark regulatory framework for markets in crypto assets, MiCA, last week. On June 30th, EU policymakers hammered out an agreement that will make things more challenging for crypto exchanges and stablecoin issuers operating in Europe. Under the new regulations, stablecoin issuers such as Tether and Circle will be required to maintain reserves to meet any mass redemption requests. They could also face limits of up to 200 million euros in daily transactions. The European Securities and Markets Authority has been given more power to restrict or ban crypto companies that are not deemed to be doing enough to protect investors. Comparing crypto to the Wild West, Stefan Berger, the lawmaker who led negotiations on behalf of the European Parliament, said in a statement, "Today, we put order in the Wild West of crypto assets and set clear rules for a harmonized market that will provide legal certainty for crypto asset issuers, guarantee equal rights for service providers, and ensure high standards for consumers and investors." Regulators were also concerned about the anonymous nature of crypto assets, agreeing to greater transparency for such transactions, while money laundering is still a major concern for regulators, especially in light of the sanctions imposed on Russia. Crypto connoisseurs were none too happy about the new regulations. Dante Disparte, Chief Strategy Officer at Circle, a stablecoin issuer, reacted to the regulations on a June 30th blog post comparing Europe's upcoming crypto assets policy framework to the EU's 2018 General Data Protection Regulations that aimed to be the strongest personal privacy rules ever. The new MiCA rules are expected to be rolled out by 2024, as once again the EU beats the US to the punch, this time in regulating the crypto industry. And this week we have a very special guest in our next story, I got to sit down with Robert Grzesik, CEO of Luma Wealth. Luma Wealth is our newest sponsor, and I think this is an amazing partnership because while we're trying to educate our viewers about crypto investing and the like, Luma Wealth is teaching people, whether new to crypto or seasoned Wall Street tycoons, to build bots, design algorithms, and write code that helps take advantage of this rocky road that's investing. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, we have several new products. Our most recent new class that we just launched is called Trading as a Business. It's going to be taught by Guy Roberts, which is one of our past students, actually. He's gone through some of our courses already, and he has a background as a financial advisor. He's been doing that for, I want to say, almost 30 years now. He's been investing since like the 80s, right? He's seen some stuff, right? And he's basically teaching a class on, all of his experience in trading, and he manages like $50 million right now. So it's all of his experience kind of distilled into his class. How does he manage risk? How does he invest? How does he think about this stuff? And then also for the more advanced students, like how do you do this legally? Like how do you structure a hedge fund and like all the legal and taxation stuff? So it's a really interesting class. That's our latest one.
Now, is this largely for people that are like pros in the financial world, or could an average Joe like me get into it as well?
Yeah, it's a mix, right? So he kind of calls like two tracks, right? So there's the one track if you're brand new, you don't know anything about investing, right? He'll teach you a lot of those things. How do you want to look at risk management? How do you want to look at how you're investing? All these types of things, right? But then for the advanced students, right, and there's going to be a couple of them, that want to start their own hedge funds and things like that. He's going to be walking through a more personalized service for those people as well. So basically if someone's, they're trying to start their own fund, which is a couple already in this class that have signed up, he'll walk them through, okay, how are you going to get clients? How are you going to legally put together a hedge fund, like the LLC and all that kind of stuff, right? How are you going to do this from a tax perspective? So it's kind of for both, right? So it's for people that are brand new to this stuff, that want to, learn from someone who's been doing this for a long time, manages a lot of money, has been successful. And there's also for people that want to kind of take things to the next level. There's two tracks in this class.
Well, I don't know if you know this about me. I used to teach sailing a lot. It was like for 20 years, I was a sailing instructor. And everybody says, oh, just get a book and look at a couple YouTube videos and you can do it. What is the advantage of actually taking a class? I know with sailing, people that take a class do so much better than people that just go to YouTube and try to figure it out. How is that with financials and stuff like that? Is it beneficial, you think?
So it's a great question. Yeah, absolutely, right? So think about sailing, right? If you don't get it right the first time, what's going to happen? Maybe you drown, maybe you destroy your boat or something. That's like the worst case scenario. If you're brand new to investing and you mess it up, you could lose your life savings, right?
Yeah.
So it's really, I think, important to have that background before you jump into this stuff. There's too many people. I was talking to someone the other day, they lost money in the past 2 years. I find that crazy. It's everything is up. But if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to buy some crazy call options or over leverage or buy some penny stocks just by, I heard this on the internet, right? Usually not very good advice. I think when it comes to your money, it's one of those things that you don't want to mess up.
Yeah.
Right. You want to get it right the first time around. So, put in the time, put in the money to basically learn how to do this stuff. Me personally, before I had my education, I have a master's in finance, right? Which took a long time to go through and all that, right?
Yeah.
A lot of time and money. But before that, I got caught up in 2008. I blew up my account. I lost 20, 30K back then. That was a lot of money to me at the time, right?
Yeah.
Valuable lesson. I learned a lot from it. Then I went to go do my master's in finance. After doing that, I'm oh my, what the heck was I doing? It's crazy, right? I had very bad risk management practices. I was over leveraged. I was betting on things that even though I was right, it doesn't matter because I didn't have the opportunity to get that far because I lost all my money. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I think it's important to learn this kind of stuff. Ever since learning that, ever since going to my master's degree, I manage a little over $2 million, I think, right now for myself and some other people, and we've been doing very well, right? So just learning those fundamentals, learning those basics, I think is really important and will set you up for a very successful future.
And so the way you're describing it sounds like this is a lot like any other skill. It's just a matter of learning the basic rules and applying those basic rules in a responsible way. And it's the same thing as driving a trailer across the country or sailing a boat across the sea or playing a baseball game. It's just a matter of learning the ground rules and you can be successful, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's just like any other skill, right? Like, I mean, when it comes to trading or investing, right, you want to be paying attention to your risk and return, right? You want to be making sure that you're investing in things that give you a good return. Some people think a savings account is a good idea. It is not, right? For the most part, there are times and places for things, but for the most part, your money, your life savings should not be held in a savings account, earning you less money than inflation right now, significantly less. Risk management is very important. Learning how to like invest, but not be in a position where you're going to lose everything, right? So like, there's all these skills they can learn, right? And it's not that difficult if you have someone who's been through the coals and can say, well, look, this is what happened in the year 2000. This is what happened in 2008, right? If you had positioned yourself in such and such a way, you would have gone through it and actually made a lot of money through that, right? So someone with that experience has seen these types of things that, obviously been successful, I think it's a very good person to learn from.
Well, and then that's kind of the purpose of this podcast. I try to grow crypto by bringing new people in that were otherwise, kind of shy of it or intimidated by it. And it's the education side of it that I'm really trying to push with this podcast. And that's why I'm so glad you came on here and you talk a little bit about this. But, I'm 50 some odd years old. I'm looking at retirement in a couple of years, but I still have a little bit of appetite for risk, and I still have a little appetite that I want to make some money. What's the likelihood that I could kind of come to your classes and start really, making some real money and having some fun while I'm doing it?
Yeah, I mean, people make a lot of money through our classes. We have a bunch of them, right? The one I was talking about, the trading as a business, that one's really good for, kind of the fundamentals behind everything. But we have some people coming through our classes, learning how to build trading algorithms. That's kind of our bread and butter, as you might call it. It's how we started, and by far our most attended classes is like how to build algorithms that automatically buy and sell anything really, stocks, options, crypto, right? And there's a lot of people that have gone through our classes that have built some stuff that like really makes them a lot of money. I was talking to one of our past students, and he was like, he's making like 400 or 500% a year. And that's not by like, betting the house, right? Like some people, you'll make this 1,000% return or something by buying some, we call them shit coins, right? But, you buy like Dogecoin or something and you just happen to luck out and it makes you 1,000%, right? What's the chance of you doing that twice, right?
Right.
I say the chance is a lot better of you blowing up your account and losing everything rather than making 1,000%. So these students that come through us, they're making these good returns, but they're doing it in such a way that's repeatable, right?
Yeah.
Which is what software allows you to do, right? You can create a trading strategy, back test it, which means try it on past data, right? To see how it would have done in the past. And that gives you really good information about, is this thing going to do well in the future, right? Mm-hmm. It worked well in 2020, worked well in 2021, probably going to do well in 2022, right? You can test it and you have a much higher confidence, right? So we teach a lot of stuff like that where you can have repeatable models, repeatable ways of making money. That's not just you betting on the house. Like, it's a lot smarter, a lot more methodical in the way that we do things.
Well, what is if I wanted to get into this, what kind of leverage would I need to get started? I mean, do I need to have $50,000 in? Can I start, on a relatively small basis and, kind of build myself up? How's that all work?
Yeah, I mean, with crypto, you could start really small. I mean, some of the students that just went through our most recent cohort, they had an account with like $10 in it. They just messed around with. The beauty of crypto is that most exchanges, their fees are relative to the size of your trade, and you get to trade very small fractions of things, right? So, $10 is probably more than enough to kind of get you started and going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So stock markets in the past, you were wanting to buy into Apple, you had to lay out $10,000 to even get into the game if you wanted to. But that's one of the benefits, I think, of crypto right now is that, most of these coins are less than $1 to buy into. and you can really have some fun and trade between the trades and whatnot. But we can do it with the tutelage of somebody like you who can tell us, we're screwing up or we're not screwing up. So I think that's a win-win for all the way around, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what we teach. We have a bunch of stuff across the board, everything from if you want to learn how to code, if you don't want to learn how to code, we have a ton of things available. That's what we do. We teach people how to make money, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I've been obsessed with for the better part of my life. I love that stuff. I love investing. So we built a whole company around this, right? Like, how do we use software to make people money? How do we improve people's investment returns? How do we help people make better investment decisions? That's what we're all about.
Night. Imagine buying a piece of digital artwork on the internet at a reasonable price and getting a unique digital token which proves your authority over the artwork that you just bought. Well, that's an NFT. NFTs started in 2015 and are all the rage right now. And on this broadcast, we want to help you find your way through the maze of technical jargon and crypto speak so that you can join the NFT world. Just as everyone believed that Bitcoin was the best thing to happen to currency since the invention of wampum, NFTs are the digital world's answer to Rembrandt. As a result, digital artists are seeing their lives changing thanks to the massive sales to a new crypto audience. NFT means non-fungible token, which are generally created using the same types of programming used for cryptocurrencies. In the simplest of terms, these virtual assets are based on blockchain technology. They cannot be exchanged or traded equivalently, like other coins, because, well, they're all unique. The term non-fungible token means it can neither be replaced nor interchanged because of its unique properties. Fiat currencies like the dollar and cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin are fungible, which means they can be traded or exchanged for one another. NFTs can come in all different forms, like a digital collectible, domain names, games, essays, and even sneakers in a fashion line. The majority of NFTs reside on Ethereum's cryptocurrency blockchain, a distributed public ledger that records transactions. NFTs are individual tokens with valuable information stored in them. Because they hold a value primarily set by the market and demand, they can be bought and sold just like other physical types of art. NFTs' unique data makes it easy to verify and validate their ownership and the transfer of tokens between owners. People interested in cryptocurrency trading and people who like to collect artwork often use NFTs. The most significant use of NFTs today is in digital content. Content creators see their profits enhanced by NFTs as they power a creator economy where creators have the ownership of their content over the platforms they use to publicize it. NFTs have also garnered considerable interest from game developers. Normally, in an online game, you can buy items for your character, but that's as far as it goes. With NFTs, you can recoup your money by selling the items once you're finished using them. Both NFT and DeFi, decentralized finance, share the same infrastructure. DeFi applications let you borrow money by using collateral. NFTs and DeFi both work together to explore using NFTs as collateral instead. Some key features of NFTs are digital assets are NFTs that represent internet collectibles like art, music, and games, with an authentic certificate created by blockchain technology that underlies the cryptocurrency. It's unique, and it can't be forged or otherwise manipulated. And they're exchangeable. NFT exchanges take place with cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin on specialist sites. Celebrities like Snoop Dogg, Shawn Mendes, and Jack Dorsey are creating unique artwork and selling them as securitized NFTs. One of the most popular non-fungible tokens in recent days is put out by NBA's Top Shot, a partnership between Dapper Labs, makers of CryptoKitties game, and the National Basketball Association. The NBA licenses individual highlight video reels, among other content, to Dapper Labs, and they digitize the footage and make it available for sale to consumers. Each reel shows a video clip, such as a famous player's basketball dunk, and some featuring different angles and digital artwork to make them all unique. Even if someone made a perfect copy of the video, it can instantly be recognizable as a counterfeit. The venture has already generated $230 million in sales, and the company just also received $305 million in funding from a group that includes Michael Jordan and Kevin Durant. Some of the most popular NBA NFTs are LeBron James's Cosmic Dunk, valued at $208,000. Zion Williamson's Holo MMXX block, valued at $100,000. And LeBron James From the Top, sold for $100,000. These unique NBA moments are minted and released into the marketplace via pack drops, a kind of digital pack of baseball cards. The most common sell for $9 or so, but more exclusive packs can sell for much more. The key differences between cryptocurrencies and NFTs are cryptocurrencies are fungible. They can be traded or exchanged for one another. They are also equal in value, while each NFT acts as a digital signature that makes it impossible for them to be exchanged for equal to one another. For example, one Bitcoin is always equal to another Bitcoin, or $1 is always equal to $1. The Last Supper is like an NFT in that it's a one-of-a-kind painting. It can't be exchanged with another painting, or anything else for that matter, that is exactly the same. Next week, we'll sit down and talk with a company that is teaching the basics of NFTs and working to find the Picasso, the Beethoven, or even the LeBron James in you. So stay tuned. Well, at least 180 seconds have passed since the cadet in command gave abandon at random, so that's it for this week's episode. I do hope you picked up a thing or two, and I want to send a big shout out to our sponsor, Luma Wealth. Make sure you give that old subscribe button a taparoo and trade safely, my friends. We'll see you next time on the Crypto Nightly News with me, Christopher German, your host. Happy